This is Penn Sunday School.
Well, I guess we're going. Brothers, sisters, siblings, welcome to Penn's Sunday School starring Penn Jillette. My name is Michael Goudeau, Matt Reddy Rich, and Penn are broadcasting from their separate homes in Las Vegas. Goudeau is still on Whidbey Island. If you're not at home, we'll answer some viewer mail, and maybe we'll even get a little heavy. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Jillette.
I am always amazed at what beautiful places there are to live. Is that just beautiful where you are, Goudeau?
It is just beautiful where I am. It is beautiful, and it has been beautiful for 1,000 miles worth of driving. Anywhere you would have stopped would have been just about this beautiful. Our eyes have been burned by the beauty of this drive.
I'm curious because right now, like a lot of companies are doing things where they are functioning from stay at home, and they're doing this reassessment. You know, is it better? Is it more economically viable or whatever? But they're also asking people who work for companies, are you enjoying working remotely? And is it something you'd like to continue to do? It's something that is being asked at a lot of companies. And including my brother who works for the software company. And I was like, well, that really changes things. Because you just described like a place which is like 5 beautiful small towns, right? And so maybe doing stuff over Zoom isn't perfect, but maybe the cost of living lowers a little bit. And now you're really thinking about your quality of life a little bit. It's a really strange thing to see if this really does shake up how things return if there's a successful tackling of the virus.
If they return,
it ends up being only people in the service industry and in entertainment have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
That's not true. If you're building something, you got to be somewhere.
Construction, yeah, sure. Yeah. Maybe.
But it does make it different. It does make it strange.
Yeah, there are a lot of
I will tell you,
people could live.
I had to move to this 20 minutes. I had to get in my car, drive 20 minutes, and be in a different house to be safe for this, which I also know is probably stupid. Okay, I know that. But God damn it. I mean, you don't need seatbelts fucking ever. You need seatbelts like once in your life, and you wear them every fucking day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Unless Teller's driving.
The other thing is, well, yeah, then you always need seatbelts. But also, the idea of how you trust people. My producers have said to me that they're trusting me to be safe. Now, if other people on the show test positive before they go into the bubble, they just don't go into the bubble. If I test positive, no one goes into the fucking bubble. I mean, there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yes, I don't want to get sick, but on top of not wanting to get sick, there's also, and this is not bullshit, there's also responsibility.
Yeah.
So I have to think when I'm doing stuff, every single person working on Fool Us, would they approve of the chances I'm taking?
Right.
So I'm
also curious, like you bring up an interesting notion because you talked about this back when you were on Broadway, where they were trying to get you guys to be equity, I believe, right? And then part of that contract was you had to have understudies. And then you're like, that's not the way it's going to go down. What happened on Broadway if you were sick?
We did shows very sick, very, very sick. And I'll tell you, when I was younger, it was such a macho pride thing to do shows no matter how sick I was.
Right.
And I would do shows with enormous fevers, and I would go do shows where I was vomiting off stage. And I thought at that time I was being a hero, and now I think I was being irresponsible. I think that Americans have this sense, there's a very different sense in the Scandinavian countries, which, by the way, I don't know what countries are the Scandinavian countries. I just found out that the Netherlands and Holland are the same place.
Yeah.
No, the Netherlands and Denmark are the same place. No, the Netherlands isn't a separate country.
Holland
Anyway.
and the Netherlands, I believe, are the same.
Or the Netherlands are a subset of Holland, right?
Yeah.
The Netherlands are part of Holland.
I've been to the
Anyway.
airport.
Right now, Penn is looking at
I've
3
been to the
blank
airport.
faces, and anyone who's Scandinavian is shouting in their car.
But the culture in Scandinavia is that people stay home from work when they have a cold, any sort of cold. They stay home from work, not because they are wimps, not because their job isn't important, not because they're not needed, but because they don't want everybody else to get sick. Consequently, the colds they have in Scandinavia are different than ours because their symptoms have to be milder to be able to spread around.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Because the
Evolution.
intense colds go out of business. And the Asian countries have gotten very, very good at masks.
Yeah.
And I think that my bullshit macho thinking, which overlaps Trump's bullshit macho thinking, has actually made us sicker. And I think going forward, I wish I canceled more shows.
Wow.
Because there's the expression, the show must go on, which is the stupidest expression ever. If there's one thing that doesn't need to go on, it's a show.
Yeah.
If we cancel our show in Vegas, the worst that happens is people go out to dinner and fuck. That's the horrible tragedy. Why can't we change that to plumbers have to work?
Yeah. That seems like a real dire situation.
But I really, my heart wants to say work no matter what. And I think that is a crazy person thinking.
Yeah.
So I'm being very careful on this. I've also found that my get up and go is different. 6 months of cloistered without a lot of work, and standing up is tiring. I've been exercising. So I have a lot of muscle, but standing up is different muscles. My back gets really tired standing up. Because, Teller and I are standing behind a table and doing stupid tricks. And you have to stand up to practice that. Also, hard thinking.
Yeah, I was going to say, how
Arguing with Teller all day is hard.
I was going to say, it's normally a crazy process for you guys to have 15 closers for your season. This season came faster than the last season because normally shoot in the spring. This one's coming in the fall. So it lapped on you. And then now you have to figure out how to do stuff. And is all your tricks with no audience volunteers?
We have one trick with one audience volunteer, and it's putting them behind plexi.
Okay.
So it should be safe. And I guess we'll probably use a crew person who's been tested.
Right.
And everything else is Zoom stuff and no audience.
That's nuts. Because
Crazy writing. It's crazy.
you've only been thinking about that kind of magic for a very short amount of time.
Yeah, this is hard stuff. And the bits are a little shorter
Yeah.
because, you get someone up on stage, ask their name, that's 2 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to be tough
So
on
it's
the
running a
people
little
coming
shorter.
in
It's
too.
a little.
The acts coming in have to work without
Well, yeah.
audiences, and that's so hard.
Yep. And most people will be on Zoom
Yeah.
for their magic
Yeah.
trick. So it's going to be a crazy season. And Allison won't be anywhere near us,
Nope.
right?
Nope. And she won't. I don't know how. She won't be near anyone. I guess she'll be near her hair and makeup team, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still working on all that stuff. I don't know how I'm gonna. I usually go in the dressing room and go over the whole script, so I don't even know how we're doing that yet. But
Yeah, it's a lonely, crazy time. And it seems like if we followed all the rules and everybody did, that this would pass quicker. But I don't know.
are you looking forward to being back in your theater?
Yeah, but they're not talking about being back in the theater. They're talking about putting us in the enormous theaters, like a 6,000 seat theater.
Oh, I meant for Fool Us. For
With,
Fool Us,
you
you'll
know-
be back in your theater.
Oh yeah, we will. We
It
will.
just dawned on you right
It's,
now that we're doing that.
I guess I'll be back in my dressing
Yeah,
room, right?
you're going to be back in your dressing room doing your thing. It's going to feel pretty weird.
Sure is.
But yeah, so the governor did say that people are allowed to be at 250 people or 50% capacity, whichever is less, pending an approved full safety protocol to reopening a show. That's the latest rules for Vegas shows.
And who is going to come see us?
The governor didn't say. Governor didn't say who's going out to see.
Because I was talking to Glenn, and Glenn was saying they're talking about this 6,000 seat theater, and we can get 600 people in there, and we can stay social distance, and we can do all the checks, we can do it all safe, and they're trying to put that together. And I said, well, good. I guess we could do it safe. That'd be great. And then Glenn said, do you think we can sell any tickets? And I went, oh, no. No. People have no problem social distancing in our theater because no one else will be there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because I mean, you could certainly sell some tickets for sure, but
Yeah, sure.
for people who live outside of Vegas locals, it's been a very weird thing. The whole reopening process here has been strange, and the crowds that we're getting here in Vegas, it's not. It does not build confidence that they would be a show-seeing crowd.
Right.
There's increased assaults, increased wrestling for guns on the casino floor. There's been like all kinds of crazy, weird violence that's been happening here that makes it very discouraging for the dinner and theater crowd that we've come to rely on.
For us professional wimps.
Yes. For people whose violence normally involves pies to our face or banana peels beneath our heels.
Oh, yeah? That's the hardest we do. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like if you told me at the beginning of the pandemic, when safety protocols in place, could you guys sell 600 tickets? Yeah, of course, no problem. But
Well, yeah, when there were no safety protocols in place and the virus was already raging in March, we had 750 tickets sold at noon. And the time we decided to cancel the show, we sold another 500 tickets. We were sold out then. I mean, it used to be falling off a log to sell 1,200 tickets.
Yeah.
Falling off a log is one of the new bits for the seasons of Fools.
Very quick bit. Very quick.
What's the cleanup on that?
Oh, it's so amazing. And also, we are so spoiled. I mean, our show on Broadway was what, 86, 87? So we have been Broadway performers for almost 35 years. Okay. So we sit together working, and Teller goes, I need a pencil and a sketch pad.
You sure do, buddy. You sure do.
And then Teller and I go, yeah, well, maybe there's one. Let's see if we can, maybe in this drawer, there'll be a pencil. And Teller goes, can we get a piece of tubing like, I don't know, 3.5 inches long and maybe an inch around? And I go, I probably we could tomorrow have someone leave that in the garage.
That is daunting. That is really scary.
And I'm going, I'm going to go over to the refrigerator and get a seltzer. Do you want one? I mean, I don't want to paint too pampered a picture, except it's accurate.
Except you can't.
Except I've been around a few Penn and Teller rehearsals in the before times, and I can't imagine you two doing it by yourselves.
Where are the sandwiches?
When
Can someone
we
bring
rehearse, when the two of us are talking, there are 3 people there for props and 1 person there for other stuff. And we take a break in the conversation, and somebody says, "Ben, you want some coffee?" And I go, "Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thanks. That'd be great." So Teller, we could do. And then we say, maybe if there's a box like that big, and 2 people get up and they're running out and getting cardboard, putting together and taping that size thing so we can look at it moving around. Most amazing thing is, and you guys know this, we don't ask people to do things.
They just do it.
They just happen. And after 35 years of that, you start thinking you can just say stuff in a room and it happens.
The true magic of Penn and Teller.
And so it's crazy. Things like this. We got to carry the liquid nitrogen table in from the garage. Carry it in. We're carrying heavy things. And then Teller says, I got to pour the liquid nitrogen into a dewar. Why don't you come out? And I go, what do you want me to do? And Teller says, well, if I start doing something stupid, yell. Now, remember, some people at home are figuring, well, wait a minute. People are buying the liquid nitrogen, building the tables, doing all that stuff, leaving the garage, and then to bring in, already this work's being done. And I go, yes, we aren't even doing the work. It's just not happening right around us.
It still all that effort still comes to a screeching halt while you guys negotiate.
Yeah. And I also go, Teller goes, this seems in pretty good shape. Let's get that video and send it to him. And I go, okay, I'll get the tripod and hook up my phone.
Yeah.
Because there's not someone to just pull out their phone and shoot it.
That's amazing.
And Teller says, why is this video you shot, Penn, in slow motion? And I go, we were running a little short, and I thought maybe that would help. No, I think I hit the wrong button, Teller. And Teller goes, oh, okay. All the stuff that we would chastise others for, we are doing.
I was wondering, there's a version of this where you guys go like, it's so good, old school, to be working just the 2 of us once again in the living room, really working it out. Why did we get so carried away?
There are moments like that. There really
good.
are. There are moments of intimacy and connection and no referees and not playing to the crowd. I mean, the crowd being
Yeah,
four
but
people
still, yeah.
that are really nice, and it's really sweet, and it's reconnected with our relationship, from 40 years ago. All of that is true. But God damn it, give me a cup of coffee.
Two Vegas magicians stumble across a rusty old lamp. One of the magicians rubs the lamp. A magic genie comes out and says, "Thank you, kind magicians, for releasing me from my prison. I now grant you 3 wishes." The magicians say, "What's a wish?" That's my punchline.
What's
Sorry.
the wish?
What's a wish?
Oh, I don't get it.
I'm lost
I'm
on
lost in it
that.
too.
Because you don't know what a wish is anymore.
Oh, I get it.
They're always coming true.
Oh, that's right. I see. Yeah. Yeah.
That won't make the
I
show.
understand now.
That won't be in the show. Oh man.
I want to talk about Mac Weldon. You want to hear about Mac
Oh,
Weldon?
do I?
Ask me a question. Ask me, why is Mac Weldon so
Hey,
awesome?
Penn, why is Mac Weldon so awesome?
You don't know? Because it's one-stop shop for men's essentials, from socks, shirts, hoodies, underwear, polos, and active shorts. Mac Weldon promises comfort and consistent fit. You are not going to look great. You're not just going to look great in Mac Weldon. Their underwear, socks, and shirts perform well too. From working out, going to work, or on a date, Mac Weldon is for everyday life. Mac Weldon offers a wide range of customized fabrics that can keep you no matter what your day looks like. They can keep up with you. 18-hour silver, air knit, dry near, and warm knit. Mac Weldon has created a totally free loyalty program. Level 1 gets you free shipping for life. Once you reach level 2, by spending $200, Mac Weldon gives you 20% off every order for the next year. Mac Weldon wants you to be comfortable. So if you don't like your first pair of underwears, you can keep them and they'll still refund you. No questions. I'm loving this. It's the way all clothes should always be bought. You never should have to go out. Just get clothes. They have good clothes. They fit. They're comfortable. They're good. I like to not think about clothes. Mac Weldon is great for that. Just great for that. For 20% off your first order, visit macweldon.com/Penn
Penn.
and enter promo code
PENN.
for 20% off your first order offer, and to get to Mac Weldon, macweldon.com/Penn.
PENN.
And don't forget the promo code.
Penn.
It's a lot of ways to buy your new essentials, your men's essentials. You can get them through the mail. No digging around your closet for stuff that doesn't quite fit and you don't like anymore. So check out Mac Weldon. Check them out. And while we're on the subject of the people who missed the ad, were people who have Patreon. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's crazy times, and keep this crew and this show in the black. We want you guys to go over to patreon.com/Penn. You're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. Penn will keep making this no matter what, but we still want this.
I will. There's no incentive. I'm not going to stop. So you're not incentivizing me at all. You're just saying, well, maybe the guys get
so
paid.
Because of that, we wanted to incentivize you with rewards. Go over there, check out all the really cool things we offer, like access to the archive, ad-free episodes. There's things where you can get thank you notes from Penn. You get thanked on air. You can be included in the top of the show. You can get your all the cool celebrity videos. That's all the rage right now. You get a celebrity video version right here through Patreon, as well as you can come on the show yourselves and ask us a question that we can tackle on air. Get over to patreon.com/Penn. Check it out.
I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to people coming on the air with questions. I got a question. I'm gonna get kind of heavy here.
All right.
Okay. I won't give the person's name, but we'll call him Oliver because that's his name. And his father's been diagnosed with 1 to 2 months to live. As you can imagine, this is a difficult time for my family and me, having my academic career in Japan on hold to visit the US in the middle of a pandemic, no less, is a heavy ordeal. Like you, I'm an atheist and don't believe in an afterlife. I know from your work that you've also experienced the loss of your parents. As someone who has also had close atheist friends, such as Christopher Hitchens, pass away, what advice would you have for someone like me? Well, my first piece of advice always comes from David Greenberger. Your father has a month or two to live. By the way, doctors often lowball that for good reason. But that month or two to live, you're coming back from Japan, so you haven't seen your father a lot, and your father is almost certainly going to be under diminished capacity. My parents took a very long suffering time to die. My mom was paralyzed. My dad had some mental loss and lost his vision. And this piece of advice is the most important piece of advice for loved ones that you know who are failing. And that is, please do not spend any time with them mourning who they were. Don't spend a lot of time saying, Dad used to play soccer with me. I miss that so much. Try to get to know older people that you love for who they are right now. David Greenberger tells the story of his dad having a stroke and losing loss of, I think, one of his arms. And he only wanted friends who knew him after the stroke because he didn't like people feeling bad for him. And I will tell you that piece of advice of getting to know older people or suffering people of any kind for who they are now is incredibly important. And I will also tell my children that I hope they remember that with me, that I want them to know who I am now all the time, get to know me for who I am. When David Greenberger told me that, it changed my relationship with my parents deeply and in a very, very positive way. The other thing is, I was often given it as a challenge. I was so close to my parents and people that I knew. I won't say friends because what I'm about to say proves they weren't friends. People that I knew who were religious would tell me when I was a happy atheist that, but both your parents are alive, right? Right? Well, you wait till they die. You'll see how you do without religion. It was this horrible kind of challenge spitting on me. And I've got to tell you, I found atheism to be a great, great solace when I was losing my parents. And I will throw that challenge back. And I will say, my mother was paralyzed. My mother, who kept all her mental acuity right until she went into a coma. My mother, who was vibrant and had the heart of a 20-year-old. My mother's body became paralyzed. She was someone who'd always cared for herself and cared for her whole family. She loved to cook and take care of all of us, and she could no longer move her arms. And asking me to postulate a omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent God who was choosing to have my mother suffer like that is a horror that I couldn't comprehend. A random universe where things happen was much easier than any of the bromides of God doesn't give us any suffering we can't handle and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to make the mistake that Dawkins is often accused of taking the most extreme, crazy version of religion and only arguing against that. I'm not talking about just the bearded patrician in the sky. I'm also talking about the more liberal view of God. You've got a positive form of the universe, a positive force in the universe that had my mother suffer like that. Fuck you. Fuck you in the neck. Fuck you dead. I can take random. I can't take goodness choosing that suffering for my mother. So I found some comfort in that.
I think like the notion of holding on to an afterlife can bring comfort, you know, and I'd say as someone who came to atheism later in life, and as someone who I lost my mom when I was 5. I think one of the things that bothers me the most in adulthood is that I did think she was communicating with me at other times in my life after she died. And now as an adult, and I try to think of memories, I hate that those are things that pop up and occupy the memory space that I have for her. You know, that I don't have that instead of just thinking of stories or things like that, that I think of like the time the breeze hit me a certain way or something, feel like the sky opened up to me at one point. I don't want those to be the memories of my loved one. I don't want, and if I were to die, I don't want my children's memory of me to be stocked up with these supernatural events that may or may not have occurred, you know? And I think like, so yeah, the idea of it not being over can be comforting, but the idea that you actually will let that be an occupation space in your mind is really something that's not, it just doesn't feel like the best idea to honoring who the person was and their memory of it.
The space in your mind is everything. You know, when people claim to talk to the dead or hear from the dead, they steal money, certainly, and they steal time, certainly, and they piss on your hope, certainly, and they are pigs. But that's not the worst stuff they do. If I go to someone who trucks in that kind of bullshit and they talk to me about my mother, what I have left of my mother is my memories of her. And the memories of my mother are everything to me. And if you put yourself in there, and I'll use the word medium as a medium between me and my mother, you have stolen from me the most valuable thing I have. If you're to say to me, your mother is in heaven and she says this, you have given me a memory of my mom that drives out some of the space I have for what she really does. And I will tell you, I speak to my mother and I get advice from my mother in a totally non-supernatural way. The other day, my son was having trouble at school, and I spoke of my father. And I really believe that I gave my son advice directly from his grandfather, who he had never met and will never know. And those memories of my mom and dad and those things that they said to me that I can pass on to my son is all that's real in the world to me. And the idea that someone would take that away from someone fills me with a combination of sadness and rage that I don't think I feel for anything else. And now I'm going to take a moment, and Goudeau, you're going to say something because you're the one who's not crying right now.
Although he is completely backlit and silent.
Oh, no, we can't hear him. We can hear you, Goudeau. No. All right, I'll go.
No, I haven't heard you for half an
I'll
hour.
go. While you recover there, I remember very recently I lost my father-in-law, and that's been documented on this show quite a bit. But there's a moment where his body was failing him, but his mind was still with us was there, but also starting to have a little impact. But he was in this hospice bed in the middle of his living room, and he saw his couch, and he gestured for his couch, and we moved the couch over, and it was about a 20-minute process to get the couch over, to move the couch, to move him and get him out of his bed with his body failing and onto the couch so he could sit on his couch instead of the hospital bed. And he just wanted to sit there. And we got him there, and he looked up, and he felt a feeling of normalcy for a moment. And he looked over at me, and he said, they finished building the Raider Stadium? And I said, what? He goes, the Raider Stadium in Vegas. They finished building that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I had a conversation with 5 minutes about the stadium and the Raiders. And it was like, that's, talking about David Greenberger's point, like that had such an impact on me that like when it was all said and done, when he was suffering through all the things he wanted to do, it wasn't about getting these crazy amounts of nuggets of knowledge or wisdom or lifelong things. It was just in the crazy moments of being intimidated by the whole process. He wanted to sit on his couch and have a normal conversation. And I thank goodness that David Greenberger was on our show before that moment happened, because I remember him saying it on this show. It had a lot of impact on me, and I felt like that podcast prepared me for that moment, and it was really nice.
I will tell you, Matt Donnelly, with the amount of weightlifting and bodybuilding I've been doing every day, and standing up all day with Teller, it is now about a 20-minute process for me to get out of bed and onto the couch.
However, if you start talking about the Raiders, I know something has gone incredibly wrong.
Very wrong. Very wrong. Now there's 2 Goudeaus. Good. Talking about that, the wisdom that one gets. I've probably told this story before, but God damn it, I'm going to tell it again. My dad was toward the end of his life. And when I would see him, I would always see him at the house, and very often with my mother and always with my mother, but often my sister around as well, and home care people. And there was a restaurant called the Shady Glen, a diner, really, just a diner that my dad was fond of. And I wanted to get some wisdom from my dad. My dad was already fading. And I thought to myself, in my kind of dramatic way, because I am a dramatic person, I would say to my dad, I want to take you out for lunch. We're going to go have lunch. And I planned during the lunch to ask my dad essentially the meaning of life. To ask my dad what wisdom he wanted to give me. I never asked him that directly. He'd given me a huge amount of wisdom. I never asked him. So it was a great deal of difficulty with the home care people. But I got my dad into the rental car. My dad was legally blind, but nearly really blind. And a great deal of difficulty walking. And there were stairs to negotiate and wheelchairs. But I got him into the car. And we drove together over to the Shady Glen. Or it might have been the Four Leaf Clover. They're both owned by the same people, I think. By the way, if you're in Greenfield or Turners or Shelburne, the places around where I'm from, go to the Shady Glen. Tell them Samuel Gillette sent you. And I got my dad in. Great deal of wrestling. Sat him down in a booth. And my dad ordered a lobster roll. Now, my children just had a lobster roll for the first time. But a lobster roll is lobster salad, like tuna salad, except with lobster, and a lot of mayonnaise. And then it's on a little bit of celery. And then it's on a grilled hot dog bun. Hot dog bun is grilled with butter and then overstuffed with this lobster salad. And my dad ordered a lobster roll. And potato chips. And I was waiting for the right time to ask my dad for his wisdom. And the lobster roll came. And my dad took a huge bite and said, "Oh my goodness, that is such a good lobster roll. I love this." And I realized I had gotten everything I wanted from that conversation. Okay, take a Goudeau.
It's like a good time to
My
check in with
microphone
Michael
working?
Goudeau. Yes, your microphone is working.
It is.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I would be crying except that I'm being attacked by spiders. So I apologize for desecrating the memory of your father as I dodge these spiders. The disadvantage
What are
of
the spiders doing?
they're just landing on me. I am at the edge of the roof, and they just seem to be lowering themselves down onto me to say hi. So far, they've been tiny.
Okay, so
So
Seem to know how to turn
so
on
there's
microphone.
COVID, there's fires, there's global warming, there's a president is in the hospital, and now there's a plague of spiders.
Yeah, and in fact, I believe around the corner there's a bunch of hobbits twisted up inside of spider webs.
What kind of spiders?
I don't know. They're tiny. They're tiny little spiders, and they keep lowering down and landing on my computer and me. They're making for a exciting.
at
show.
some point, evolutionarily speaking, humans decided to make their move. We weren't always at the top of the food chain, So you just never know when another species is going to make that move.
I also want to say about my dad. I know. Oh, by the way, I have always heard kind of bad stuff about Paul McCartney. He's kind of bitter and that kind of stuff. I listened to a couple interviews with Paul McCartney, and I love him.
Wow.
And I think the people that told those stories were just trying to tell a story to drag someone down. Paul seems tremendous.
Yeah.
And this is why I fell in love with Paul. Paul was being interviewed at an art school in Liverpool that he once went and saw a lecture at. It's a recent interview of the past 3 years. Paul looks terrific, first of all. Being a vegetarian sure doesn't do you any harm. And Paul said this thing, which I just loved. They said, the guy said, "I looked this up and it was X number of years ago today that you recorded Hey Jude." And Paul said, "Yeah, we couldn't get into Abbey Road, so went to another studio we recorded, and sat down. We went in there in the afternoon. We worked till like 4 a.m. on Hey Jude, and the only reason we worked in the evening into the night was we always had to work during the day on our records because that's when the studios were open. And then we read somewhere that Frank Sinatra would go in the studio at night, and we said, okay, we can do that. So that's the only reason we did it." And he said, "Now I'm about to tell a story that I've told about Hey Jude for years and years and years. And I've told the story so much. I've told the Beatles story so much and recreated the memory that I have no way of knowing if it's true." He said, "This is just a story I tell over and over. It might be true. Parts of it might be true, but I've told it enough that I can no longer trust it." And I went, "God damn, Paul. There are not many people who are saying that during their interviews.
Paul McCartney.
There aren't that many Beatles that are."
Yeah.
Paul McCartney and Dolly Parton.
Yeah, A-OK. Does she say that too?
But yeah, she's also become one of the greatest people on earth. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a surprising set of events. Who would have thought?
But
Dolly Parton and Paul McCartney.
That having been said, I saw the last interview with Larry Fine of the Three Stooges. Now it's probably available on YouTube, so you can make me a liar instantly. But at the time I saw it in the 70s, It was on videotape, and it was a very rare interview. Some college guy wanted to talk to the Larry Fine, and he had had a stroke, and he was at a old age home, and the guy tried to interview him. And I recall what spoke to my heart about the interview was I felt a argument that the young college student wanted to interview Larry Fine about how the Three Stooges worked together, how they toured together, and the cultural impact of the Three Stooges. And Larry Fine wanted to talk about what he ate, his friends, and getting laid. And when they'd ask him about being on the road with Curly and Mo, he said, oh, yeah, there were these three dancers, girls. They were sisters. We went out with them. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Jesus, that was a night. And they'd say, well, the first show you did with the Three Stooges was in Ohio. And Larry would say, there's a deli there that had corned beef. And they'd say, what was the comedy style of Curly Howard? And he'd say, oh, I miss Babe. I miss Babe so much.
Oh.
And I remember, and I'm not remembering correctly, but it tied in with my dad, that, when you're at the end of your life, you're not going to spend any time remembering the awards you won or any of that, And the things you're going to remember about your dad are not the heroic things that your dad did or your mom did. They're going to be the moments talking about the Raiders on the couch,
That's the truth.
They're just going to be. And when you're, Joey will tell when his dad was attacked by spiders.
Apparently saying the word spiders has excited them. They're all around now. Now they're coming. Bigger ones are showing up.
I don't know if there's a better lesson we teach about death than watching Goudeau die in front of us as we continue to broadcast.
Well, do you tend to know stuff about nature? What kind of spiders are they?
I don't know much about insects at all, but they're scary looking.
They're not insects.
Yeah, I know. See,
they're not
that's
insects.
how little I know. They have 8 legs. I know, but yeah, they're just. I don't know. I don't know much about them. Other than
what makes them scary looking, Goudeau?
Years and years of being afraid of them, passed down through generation after generation. Whoa, Jesus God! Sorry, really big one right there. I believe it's perhaps genetic. Some of them are venomous, and so perhaps we've learned to fear them just because people who feared them survived.
Oh.
So we'll see if I survive.
I have a question about the Hey Jude thing, which I'm sure it has. I don't know if this has been brought up before, but Paul McCartney wrote a song about John Lennon's son. Like, what would you do if you came to work with Teller and he's like, hey, I have a magic called Hey Z, and it's all about like how Zoltan can like figure out life as your child, and just sprang that on you. Would you be a little put off by that? I would be put off by that.
Well, we put Moxie into the trick. So Teller has done that.
Fair enough. I was trying to think if I went to go record Ice Cream Social and Paul Mattingly was like, I got to sing a song about your kid. Don't worry about you. Worry about you being
Your
his dad.
papa sucks.
It's just feels a little presumptuous, a little invasive.
What is more bothersome is when Paul McCartney talks about how confusing it is to German Jews that he wrote Hey Jude. Because in Germany, that means Hey Jew.
Oh. That is a strange one. And it's not his real name, so that is confusing to explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Teller will come in and say,
But,
we're doing Hey Lee.
What?
What's Lee?
I wrote a song. It's called Hey Lee. It's not about your son. Just because it rhymes with Z doesn't mean it's your son. Some other kid and some other dad,
Yeah.
probably.
But if you want an advertisement for rich vegetarian pothead, Paul could not be a better one. He looks healthy.
And he's still ambitious, and he still makes a lot of money, you know.
Yeah,
Breaking
well,
some
these, you know, yeah. So maybe, you know, you often said that when you know, because you know bunches of famous people, that everybody wants to hear the shitty
That's it.
stories.
That's all they
about
want to
them.
know. Yeah.
So if you've got a shitty story, you can dine on
Yeah. Oh,
that,
totally.
you know?
Yeah. There's nothing interesting in meeting Paul McCartney and being like, nice guy, made me a nice meal. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm going to go with Paul
Yeah.
as opposed to stories about
There you
Paul.
go.
I think that was my revelation. And I have been passing on bad stories about Paul McCartney for 30 years now.
So you really,
And it stops. I'm going to stop it.
you got some work to do then. Really, it's just stopping won't undo 30 years of damage.
I'm undoing it now. But still, John Lennon was a bitter prick.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do we want to do the heavy follow-up question?
What's the heavy follow-up question?
Here, I'll read it to you. This is it. When you're gone, you're gone. I struggle with this. How can I make every day matter?
Okay, we'll finish with that. Nicholson Baker said, every novel must answer the question, why go on living? I was just reading in a Philip Roth book. I don't know the exact quote, but he says that every question, like should we paint the upstairs living room? The question, if you follow it, becomes why should we stay alive? I believe the reason to live is that there's nothing better to do. And that there are moments of joy and moments of adventure and moments of love and moments of truth that feel good. And I don't know why eternity makes life more valuable when in reality it makes life less valuable. Why would you think that going on the dive bombers at the state fair would be a better experience if it never ended? I think the very fact that things begin and things end is what makes those things beautiful. Single state events are not events. 3K of background noise is not interesting. Heaven has nothing interesting. Hell has nothing interesting. All we have is life. And getting a hold of the struggle and grabbing yourself, keeping yourself in the middle, trying to keep in the middle and not in the future and not in the past seems to be worthwhile. I mean, there seems to be joy, and joy in itself is worth it. That's my answer. What do you say, Matt?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
And I agree with Matt
You know,
completely.
Goudeau,
I have grabbed life by the horns.
You know,
I'm telling you,
Goudeau-
my friends.
I'm
you
thinking
see-
all of the above, D.
did you see Goudeau that someone did a tweet that referenced you as the meaning of life on this show?
No. But
You didn't see that?
I didn't see that.
They pulled a clip of you from the show saying that that you had decided that you were going out to do fair shows and you had decided to enjoy them because just waiting to get home wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
And this person that wrote said that in our exchange, if you're doing that, I said afterwards, if you're doing stupid shit, Goudeau, you might as well enjoy it. Gave this person their meaning for the whole lockdown.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
If you're doing stupid shit, you might as well enjoy it.
I'm doing stupid shit.
So I think that is our answer to the heavy
Definitely.
question.
And maybe the title of the show, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I don't know. Goudeau gets attacked by spiders is pretty good. Goudeau gets attacked by spiders during the show. I think that should be the whole title.
All right.
Because the story of you being attacked by spiders is much, much inferior.
All right. There we go.
You got the title all there?
We got it. We can wrap it
Spiders
up
still
now.
attacking you, Goudeau?
It's been
Okay.
a good couple of minutes.
Well, Goudeau got attacked by spiders, and we gave you the meaning of life. What more do you need? That was Penn Sunday School. Cha cha cha. You become naked. As soon as we're done, are you ripping off those headphones and that sweatshirt and getting naked and getting the spiders off your
I'm going to run.
Do you have any evidence that they're biting you? The spider bites are awful.
No, I have no evidence.
You know we love you.